Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there lived a brave and adventurous princess named Robin Hood. She was unlike any other princess in the land, for she loved nothing more than to ride through the forest, shooting arrows and playing pranks on the villagers. The people of the kingdom knew Princess Robin Hood by her striking green cloak and hood, which she wore wherever she went. She was an expert archer and was feared by none, except perhaps the Sheriff of Nottingham, who had long been trying to capture her. One sunny day, Princess Robin Hood set out on her trusty steed, with her longbow slung over her shoulder and a quiver full of arrows at her side. She rode deep into the forest, laughing and singing with joy, feeling the wind in her hair and the sun on her face. As she rode, she came across a group of poor travelers who were being robbed by the sheriff's men. Without hesitation, Princess Robin Hood drew her bow and began to shoot arrows at the robbers, quickly scattering them. The travelers thanked her profusely and asked for her name. "I am Princess Robin Hood," she replied with a smile, "and I've come to save the day." The travelers told her that they were on their way to a grand tournament in Nottingham, where the winner would receive a golden arrow. Princess Robin Hood's eyes lit up at the mention of the tournament, and she decided to join them. As they journeyed together, Princess Robin Hood and the travelers became fast friends. They told her about the cruel Sheriff of Nottingham, who taxed the poor mercilessly and treated the villagers with contempt. Princess Robin Hood's anger was stirred, and she vowed to do something about the sheriff's cruelty. When they arrived at the tournament, she found that it was being held in a grand arena in the heart of Nottingham. The competition was fierce, with archers from all over the kingdom competing for the golden arrow. Princess Robin Hood proved to be a formidable opponent, shooting arrow after arrow with precision and skill. The crowd cheered as she competed, and the sheriff scowled in disapproval. "Who is this masked archer?" he growled to his men. "Find out their identity and bring them before me." But Princess Robin Hood was one step ahead. She won the tournament, and as she accepted the golden arrow, the crowd erupted in cheers. The sheriff's men tried to capture her, but she leaped onto her horse and rode off into the forest, laughing and waving the golden arrow in triumph. As Princess Robin Hood rode away from the tournament, the sheriff's men gave chase. They galloped through the forest, their horses' hooves pounding the earth, but Princess Robin Hood knew these woods like the back of her hand. She led them on a merry chase, dodging trees and leaping over roots. Finally, she lost them in a thicket of brambles and thorns. Breathless and laughing, she reined in her horse and listened as the sheriff's men rode past, shouting and cursing. When the coast was clear, Princess Robin Hood rode out of the thicket and continued on her way. She had a plan to use the golden arrow to help the poor villagers who were suffering under the sheriff's cruel taxes. As she rode, she came across a group of villagers who were struggling to build a new school. They were poor and didn't have the resources to finish the building. Princess Robin Hood dismounted her horse and approached them. "What's the trouble, good people?" she asked, her green cloak fluttering in the breeze. The villagers looked up at her in awe, recognizing the legendary archer. "We're trying to build a school for the children," one of them explained, "but we don't have enough money." Princess Robin Hood smiled. "I think I can help with that," she said, holding out the golden arrow. "This is a valuable prize. I'll give it to you, and you can sell it to finish the school." The villagers were overjoyed. They thanked Princess Robin Hood profusely, promising to tell everyone about the kind and generous archer who had helped them. As Princess Robin Hood rode away, she felt a sense of satisfaction. She was using her skills and her fame to make a difference in the kingdom. But she knew that there was still much work to be done. The Sheriff of Nottingham was still at large, and Princess Robin Hood knew that she would have to keep fighting against his cruelty. She rode back to her hideout, a secret cave deep in the forest, and began to plan her next move. Meanwhile, the sheriff was seething with anger and frustration. He had been outsmarted by the mysterious archer, and his plans to increase the taxes on the villagers had been foiled again. He called a meeting with his most trusted advisors, a group of ruthless and cunning men who would stop at nothing to get what they wanted. "We need to catch this archer," the sheriff growled. "I'll give you whatever resources you need. Just bring me their head." His advisors nodded, eager to please their master. They began to make plans, setting traps and laying snares in the forest. But Princess Robin Hood was always one step ahead, using her cunning and her bravery to evade them. As the days turned into weeks, the battle between Princess Robin Hood and the sheriff intensified. The villagers began to take sides, some supporting the sheriff and others cheering on the brave archer. But Princess Robin Hood didn't care about the odds. She was fighting for what was right, and she would stop at nothing to protect the people she cared about. As the days passed, Princess Robin Hood continued to evade the sheriff's men, always staying one step ahead. She robbed from the rich and gave to the poor, earning the admiration and gratitude of the villagers. One day, she received a message from a group of villagers who were being forced to pay exorbitant taxes. They begged her to intervene, and Princess Robin Hood knew she had to act quickly. She rode to the village, her longbow slung over her shoulder and her quiver full of arrows. When she arrived, she found the sheriff's men collecting the taxes, their carts overflowing with grain and livestock. Princess Robin Hood drew her bow and shot an arrow at the cart, striking the wheel and causing it to splinter. The sheriff's men were startled, and they quickly retreated, abandoning their carts and fleeing into the forest. The villagers cheered as Princess Robin Hood distributed the stolen goods among them. They thanked her profusely, and one of the villagers, an old man, approached her. "Princess Robin Hood," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "you are a true hero. We will never forget what you've done for us." Princess Robin Hood smiled and nodded, her green cloak fluttering in the breeze. "I'm just doing what's right," she said. "You deserve to be treated fairly and with kindness." As she rode away, the sheriff's men reappeared, their numbers bolstered by additional reinforcements. They were determined to capture Princess Robin Hood once and for all. The chase was on, with Princess Robin Hood riding swiftly through the forest, her horse's mane flowing in the wind. She dodged trees and leaped over streams, her longbow and quiver bouncing on her back. The sheriff's men were hot on her heels, their horses' hooves pounding the earth. But Princess Robin Hood knew these woods like the back of her hand, and she led them on a merry chase.